Hey everybody, Thursday evening. Welcome to the Financial Thing Investing live stream. What are we today? April 6th, 2023. Amazing that we are already in April. I have a goal for the rest of 2023 to kind of shorten up the stream a little bit. I've kind of been asking some people about the length of time that the stream is on for, and I'm thinking maybe it needs to be shortened down by maybe 15 to 20 minutes. So that's my goal, is to get down to that sort of 40-minute mark. Unless we have a guest on the stream, then those tend to go a little bit longer because of the interview type setup that we have. But anyway, thanks for joining this evening. We're going to be talking a little bit about peer-to-peer lending, kind of a quiet week for news. A couple of bits and pieces there, and then I'm going to be talking about a couple of emails that I got regarding in general investing. An interesting email sort of titled, "Can I Afford This?" which I wanted to talk about it because I thought it was quite interesting. As you can see over here, we have a new sponsor for the live stream. Cufflink has always been a friend of the show, and they have generously said, hey, we want to come forward and sponsor the live stream and sponsor the Harley cam too. So you can see Harley, that she's got her own little camera there. She's taking a little nap. But yes, thank you to Narinder and the guys over at Cufflink for generously sponsoring the stream. And don't forget to go check out all of the peer-to-peer lending companies that we talk about weekly on the stream. Also, check out Cufflink this week. You can get up to 9.73% annually on Cufflink right now. That's the targeted rate. They have lent over £250 million of property-backed UK investments since 2016 with zero investor losses to date. Don't forget that capital is at risk, so don't invest more than you're prepared to lose. Again, thank you to Cufflink. Please hit the thumbs up if you can. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And just a couple of announcements. We have some live stream guests coming up. As I said, I've worked really hard to kind of get some interesting guests for you. April the 12th, we're going to have Capital Stackers here. That is next Thursday. I believe that's the right date, but whatever next Thursday is, I think it's April 12th. Steve Robinson, who I think maybe is even in the chat tonight, he is going to be here live talking about Capital Stackers and the work that they're doing over there. April the 20th, we're going to have Cufflink here. I'm not sure who is going to be here exactly from Cufflink, but the representatives of Cufflink. We've had Narinder in the past, and Harry, somebody from Risk 2, whose name is completely slipping my mind at the moment, but they are going to be here on the 20th. We got Folk to Folk on April the 27th. We have Susie from Peer-to-Peer Finance News now. It's a subscription that I have to their news and magazine. I wanted to kind of come and chat about peer-to-peer with her. I thought that would be an interesting conversation. And then on May 25th, Assets Exchange will be here live, Peter Reed. So yeah, a bunch of interesting guests. More to come too. Quick hi to everybody in the stream. Mike says he's loving the sponsored Harley cam. That's cool, Mike. Nice to see you. Colin Perry in the Peak District. Peter Vince, looking forward to some warm weather up there in Leatherhead. Paul Bagworth at Kenilworth. Steve Robinson is here. If that is the same Steve from Capital Stackers, welcome, Steve. Stephen Hale in Nottingham. Paul Bagworth says happy tax year. Yes, we got to pay the HRMC. Ugh, not my favorite time of the year. Alan Toombs in Basingstoke. We got J.M. Roberts in Toronto. Dave Ellard is here, cooling down in the Midlands. Aki Chap, of course, in Accrington. Alan Stratford says you can't get 9.7% at Cufflink. True rate is 8.25%. I think they're doing a promotion at the moment, Alan. It may be for new customers. They're giving a bit of a rate bump, as I do believe. So I think you can. Well, and anyway, these numbers are always estimated target returns, so There you go. That's just what they tell me. And Annabelle is here from sunny Alicante in Spain. I almost said bonjour, but obviously that would be a como está. Anyway, let's get right into it and see what's going on out there in the world of peer-to-peer lending this week. I know I've had a few things come across that I thought were interesting. Here we go. Crowd Property has been trying to fundraise, and they've actually managed to achieve their £400,000 funding target. I know a lot of you out there who watch the stream are quite happy Crowd Property lenders and investors. So they were trying to get 400K. Last time I checked, we'll do a quick reset here, a refresh, see what they got. £414,271 from 403 investors with 6 days left. So they've managed to surpass their target of what they were trying to raise, and that gives them a little bit of injection of capital for the growth of their business. Said the fundraise is set to be used to help it deliver a new 3-year growth strategy. And as you know, we've had Michael Bristow from Crowd Property on the show here a few times. They obviously do UK peer-to-peer lending, and they've been doing really good things within the industry so far. So hopefully they will continue. And that is their fourth, I think their fourth equity fundraise on Cedars. So investors do continue to back them and put more money into Crowd Property as an investment on the Cedar side. One other thing too I wanted to mention. Last week, if you were here, you'll see that we had a sit down with Rob Pascoe from Plend. Really good chat. If you haven't watched it, go back and check it out. I like Rob a lot. Not strictly a peer-to-peer lender anymore. They've not opened their doors to retail investors, but Rob has always been a friend of the stream. And after the stream, he told me that he had been over to New York for a few days, and that was his first visit to the US. And I asked Rob, what were you doing in New York? And he's very humble, and he doesn't like to brag, but I had to share this because I thought it was cool because we had him on. But Mr. Robert was actually named as one of Europe's 30 under 30, which is a awards that Forbes, the magazine and media company, gives out to people under 30 years old who are doing really good things in their sectors and industry. And if you saw that picture, if you are a fan of the what's that TV show, White Lotus Hotel, she's right there. She's one of the actresses that got one of the awards for her entertainment industry. But if you scroll down here, you'll see right here under finance there is Mr. Robert, who does not like that picture. I don't know if he's going to be upset that I showed that, but he has been given an award by Forbes 30 under 30 for the Europe side of things for guiding and democratizing global money flows. I think that's pretty cool. Little description here. He's the co-founder of Plend. In 2020, Robert Pascoe launched his personal loan company to lend cash to millennials with no or low credit scores. He learned about the opportunity the hard way. He's an immigrant from New Zealand. We forgot to mention that, by the way. He sounds very English, but he's actually from New Zealand. Pascoe moved to London to work in finance, but he lacked the credit history needed for a loan. He turned to high-interest credit cards to cover the city of London's notoriously high cost of living, and says in 2017 he went bankrupt and had to go through a number of methods to get his life back on track. The pain drove me to set up Plend for people who can't access affordable credit. Plend, co-founded with James Persay, I think that's how you pronounce it, ditches traditional credit scores and instead uses a mix of indicators to offer cheaper loans to customers who would otherwise be charged high subprime interest rates. We look at data points such as what you can earn, which industry you work in, how you spend money, and are you paying your subscriptions on time, says Pascoe. Investors have given his new scoring system high marks. In November of 2022, Plasco raised $45 million in seed capital from funds including Active Partners, Sevo, Velocity Juice, and a couple of other venture capital companies. So congrats to Robert being such a young fella and receiving, I think, is a pretty big accolade for what he's been doing in his sector. And hats off to him. It was nice again. If you haven't watched that, you can go here to the live tab on the YouTube channel on the financial thing and go check that out. Another award too that I came across my desk, and a lot of the times I know I kind of have bad news because that's sometimes we have to report bad, but this week I think it's time for a little bit of good news. One of our, again, friends of the stream here has gotten a award from the Property Reporter Awards for 2023. They got a trophy, which is always a nice thing. If we scroll down here, we're going to see, where is he? I know he's here. Hang on. He should be here because I just saw him before. It was, I think, Best Specialist Lender right down here. Blend Network. And I think that's Roxana right there. We don't see Jan here, but this is... Oh, hold on one second. Just give me 1 second. There we go. The wonders of live streaming. That dog never makes any noise except when somebody rings at the door, and I think that's something that a good dog should do, isn't it? It's kind of be that protector. So anyway, look at that. She is ready to attack at a given notice. Right? There you go. Okay, anyway. Back to the award. Blend Network, they won Best Specialist Lender Award. So, again, another friend of the stream. I think they're doing really good things in the peer-to-peer property lending space. So, hats off to Jan and the guys and girls over there. Now to some not so good news. We're looking at an article here which is about peer-to-peer lending administration costs that have racked up. This is something, of course, that we talk about all the time here on the stream, is unfortunately that bad wash through of the bad peer-to-peer companies that have bitten the dust through, whether that was fraudulent claims or just bad operations. This kind of articles just shows really how much money has been spent also on the costs of administration. Unfortunately, that is money that is coming out of our pockets as investors and for unsecured creditors, but it is just part of the deal. And unfortunately, I was invested in my early days through every single one of these companies. So I've hit 5 for 5 in the case of true transparency. So we start off with Collateral. Right, we all know what's going on with them, or maybe you don't know, but they are going to be coming up in a court case that I am actually going to be called up as a witness in. I think it's next week. So the administrator, BDO, has found Collateral operating 2 loan books, one around 14.8 million, containing a loan secured by a first charge over property assets valued at 22 million pounds, and a second loan book of 1.6 million secured over pawnbroking assets worth, or so they claim, in excess of 2.4 million. customers failed to get any money back so far. Costs for administration and liquidation have surpassed £470,000. Then we have Lendy, of course, the ugly duckling, I think, of all of them, which had more than £160 million outstanding in its development finance and bridging loan book. 90 million of those funds were in default at the time. The latest update from its administrator, RSM, showed there were 12 live development loans with an outstanding value of 49.6 million and 117 million owed to investors. So far, this is the most astonishing part to me, that RSM has amassed 5.2 million in administration costs, and that is according to the January update. Then we got Funding Secure. CG & Co., which is the administrators, recovered almost 43.8 million of the platform's £80 million loan book, and 51 loans still in default worth 25 mil. However, only 24 million has been withdrawn by investors since access was stopped in May 2021 due to an ongoing claim from a creditor. The administration was extended in 2020 for another 3 years. I think it's probably going to need another 6 years. Total fee so far, £808,353.30. And we got money thing. They had to close their doors because they couldn't afford to defend against future litigation from a borrower. So far, administration fees for money thing, 1.219 million. And then the house crowd estimated fees would top 800 grand. So we're looking at what's that, 1.6 million, so that's 3 million, 8.5 million, so about 9 million pounds in fees just from these 5 companies that have gone into the administrator's pocket. So these I'm going to have a stream about administration, I think, in the next probably next couple of months, about what you can do if you are involved in these companies and you do have money invested, because not everybody follows what they should be doing to keep up on this. So I'm going to be doing a future stream about that, about if you're an investor, what should you be doing to cover yourself. Then here we go. We have an article here about the house crowd extending for another 6 months. I really don't understand, why they just don't say it's going to take up to 3 years. I know they have to put some hard dates on these administrations, but the fact is they just keep getting delayed on, and there's no way that the house crowd administration is going to be wrapped up by the date that this article says. It says the administration is now expected to end on the 24th of August 2023. I just don't see that. And in fact, Quantama added that disbursements from the bridging and development loan book will take at least another 6 to 12 months to complete. After this process becomes a company voluntary liquidation set to be finished by February 2025. I always say whatever they advertise that date to be, add another couple of years on it, because it's just they're just very, very slow, and yeah, not great. There was a Lendy update that was sent out. Nothing really interesting here, but it does show, by the way, if you haven't logged into your Lendy account recently, go log in. There may be some money sitting in there you probably need to withdraw. Interim distributions in the first stage, 65% of net realizations on loans that have been recovered but not previously distributed. And then the second stage, they decided that anything where loans had a balance of less than 100 grand, they would not be distributed because it wasn't be cost effective for the investors. And then there was some other information about what they're planning on doing in the future. Nothing really super interesting in there, but if you are a lending investor, go read these administration updates, because they do kind of set out how things are going to be paid on the future, and also if you're invested in these individual loans, like development finance loans or bridging loans, it sometimes highlights those individual loans and shows what the plan is. Okay, I got this interesting email. I think it was a couple of months ago, and the subject of it was, can I buy it? Said, hey Lawrence, first of all, I want to say thanks for all the great info you put out on your website. You're welcome. Just kidding. Keep up the good work. Secondly, I wondered if you give me a little financial advice. Well, I understand it's not advice, more of an opinion. Yes, nothing on this stream, Tony, if you're watching, is financial advice, purely opinions. But Tony said, I really wanted to buy a new car that's going to cost me about £350 a month. That's presuming a finance loan. I don't have the money to buy the car with cash, but I've been wanting this car for ages. Here's my financial situation. My take-home pay is £4,250 per calendar month. Expenses £2,200 a month. I have £12,000 in credit card debt, about $8,500 in the bank, and I have £32,000 in an ISA in retirement. Do you think it would be a good idea or a bad idea for me to make this car purchase? Thanks, Tony in New York. Well, Tony, I hope you're watching this. I did not send you a reply via email because I thought I'll just answer it on here. I thought it was an interesting question, and I do get sent these emails from time to time. Tony doesn't look like he's in that bad a shape on paper because he is bringing in more than he spends on his expenses. Although I do question sometimes when people say what their expenses are, how accurate are those expenses? Because I think expenses fluctuate. And, this whole credit card debt situation he has going on there does make me wonder, are your expenses, Tony, really as low as what you're saying, or is that an average? I don't have much clarification. $8,500 of cash in the bank gives you, 4 months of expenses should you run into trouble. That's okay. I think 4 to 6 months to have cash on hand in case something happens to your job is a good thing to have, so you're a little bit under there. And then you've got $32K in retirement. And I don't know how old Tony is. I'm presuming he's younger because he doesn't have a massive retirement pot. But again, just making assumptions. I think the bigger problem here is, number one, when you have credit card debt, buying a car that you're financing, I think, is a big no-no. And then the other reason, Tony, I think this is a really bad idea for you is if you can't afford a car, I think you probably shouldn't be buying it with credit. And you have to also look at the opportunity cost of what is lost from you spending £350 a month on paying a car payment on a depreciating, I don't know if cars considered assets at the moment or not, because they have been going up in value, so there is something to be said for that. But if we look at a car finance calculator, just talking about opportunity cost, I'm presuming this would be a 47 or a 48-month loan. I'm just going off of pure averages here that the Halifax has on their calculator at 7.9% interest per year on a personal contract purchase. Talking £1,000 deposit. And then I'm assuming, based on these numbers, that this is a car that's about £20,500 based on what these payments would be. So you're going to pay £23,685 in total for this car over a period of 48 months. And I'm not a fan of taking car payments and car loans. I think cars are one of these things that when you first get them for the first 6 months, you're all like, wow, yeah, this is great. Smells like a new car. But your enjoyment of that car is a declining graph that goes downwards the longer you own the car. For most people, a car that's a couple of years old starts to decline on their enjoyment level. And then after 3 or 4 years, you start looking at the other nice new cars on the road and start thinking about, that new BMW with all that new technology looks nice. So I think I'll just get rid of the one I have and take on more debt to buy that new car. So I'm not really a fan of taking on debt to buy cars. I mean, sometimes you can get good deals where interest rates are super low. And in the US, they often have things like 0% finance for 5 years, but still not really a big fan of taking out car loans like that, because you're going to pay, if you get a 0% or some crazy interest rate, you're going to pay in another way, because the car company's always got to make money on you one way or another. So you're probably going to be overpaying for the car on its retail price. But the other more concerning thing is the opportunity cost of what Tony could have been doing with that £350 a month. And if we look at this calculator here, our good old trusty compound interest calculator at the calculatorsite.com, which I love, if we were to put away, let's say Tony's in his 20s or 30s, he puts away £350 a month for the next 20 years, because chances are if Tony takes one car loan, he's probably going to take him out in the future. He's going to get into the habit of probably always having some kind of a car payment around. But even at a low 6% average return from our trusty Vanguard index tracker, this is what Tony could end up with at the end of 20 years, £165,024. If we bump that up to the more standard, what we historically have seen interest to be on, say, a S&P 500 tracker, and again, this is not forced to be the way it is, but historically this is the way it is, that's £273,107. So I think, Tony, you're better off just taking that £350 a month, taking the bus or a bicycle, or maybe you already have a car now that you can use, and put it into an investment. And first of all, pay off that debt, because this £12,000 of credit card debt needs to go. You should definitely not be thinking about taking on a car. It sounds like it's going to be a new car with a £12,000 credit card debt. So don't do it, Tony. Don't do it. I'm telling you right now. Not financial advice. Start hammering away at that debt and then invest that money. Forget the car. Trust me. Anyway, I think also I got one other email that was interesting, and I thought this was super important. Let me pull it up. Hang on one second. Let me show you this to you. This is kind of fascinating email too. And I get emails like this too quite often. Hi Lawrence, I've been watching your live streams where you talk about the risk of buying individual stocks. Yes. Currently my entire stock portfolio is made up of only Tesla. So I'm presuming, again, Darren has just one stock that he owns. The portfolio has done really well since I bought the stock. I know you probably think this is a crazy idea to only own one stock, but I wanted to get your thoughts in the current environment. Thanks, mate. Darren. Well, Darren, I'm sure you've done very well with your Tesla stock. You probably got pretty lucky with that. Tesla's done really well. However, what I wanted to show you, first of all, is the Trading 212 portfolio that has really taken a beating. As you know, things have been doing pretty poorly in the portfolio. In fact, if you look here, we're almost on the cusp of hitting the £13,000 rate. Maybe I should have just bought Tesla stock. But these stocks that have nasty red numbers, Deutsche Bank, Calera 57% down, Norwegian Cruise Line 25% down, Walt Disney 5% down, and then Zim 31% down, and a couple of other zingers in the energy department. But what you think right now is a safe stock. Tesla has been kind of the golden child of the stock industry. There's a lot of people that think this company is just going to keep going great guns. But as we know, over the last few weeks, we've seen this banking crisis happen. And I think the main thing to understand when you're buying stocks and you're putting especially all of your eggs into one basket is Credit Suisse. This was a 167 or 165-year-old company that everybody thought, a bank is a pretty safe place to buy as a stock. But then you've got the Credit Suisse chair saying, "I'm truly sorry," pleading with angry shareholders at an annual meeting that they have sold out to UBS for just 3 billion Swiss francs. The share plummet. Saudi National Bank lost, what did they lose, $1 billion or 3.2 billion? I don't know what they lost. I think they lost $1.5 billion dollars. So big money lost, and you can see the Credit Suisse price here has over 5 years lost 94% of its value. This was a stock that at one time was, look up here, 79, 80. I think this is in Swiss francs, but now down to 0.8. And this is the problem if you take one company that you think, I think this is a good place for me to put my investment money. Likely one bad thing happens. I mean, even with Tesla, right? Let's say the batteries will start to catch on fire, or Elon Musk sends himself to Mars and can't figure out a way to get back. This stock can get hammered just the way that the Credit Suisse stock has done. So, a better option, I've always said, just go with something that I think is just a more stable place for you to put your money, where you're not going to have to worry if something happens. I bet your kind of stomach was in your throat when Tesla stock price went, I think, from 200 back down to 120. You saw it drop its value so much. Yes, it's gone back up. But I always go back to the trusty old U.S. equity index fund. You could use a world tracker. This still has risk. Look here, risk 6 out of 7 because it's an equity fund. But I definitely think this is a place where you'll be able to sleep better at night. Again, not financial advice, but the diversification of being in a fund that owns the entire broad stock market is just less risky. And Stu, you're going to have Tesla exposure in this fund. I think if we look down, see here, right here, yep, it's the 5th largest holding right here, Tesla Inc., 1.38% of the fund. So you're still going to have Tesla exposure. You're just going to do it in a much more diversified manner that I think is safer and a way for you to hedge your bets should something happen to the stock market, which I think we all know is coming eventually. And also, I always go with the accumulation fund and not the income fund, because you can see you just don't get paid that much in the yields of these things. Even in the income, 1.25% a year. In the accumulation, that one distributes 1.24%, which just goes back into the fund to hopefully you get that increase in the fund price. So Darren, stop taking all of that risk, because I think it's a really easy way to get burned. And yes, you got lucky and Tesla stock has done really well, but going forward, I think it'd be better just use a little bit of diversification and heed a little bit of caution, I think. The other thing too, so I was going to show you in the Trading 212 portfolio, this Zim Shipping, the portfolio holds 73 shares, and right now we're sitting negative 31%. So in actual fact, I mean, all stocks pretty much, the entire market is in the red from where it was a few months ago. Nothing has really done that well. But we're supposed to get a dividend payout on this stock. 73 shares is going to be, let's see. So, and I thought this was supposed to get paid out on April 4th, but it hasn't yet. So $467 US supposed to get paid out through 73 shares. So this is Zim Shipping pays a pretty wild dividend, but also when that dividend gets paid out, you see the stock drops off. So this was prior to the dividend payout at $24, and then this is when the dividend gets paid out. You can see the stock tends to drop, and then your hope is that it comes back, but there's no guarantee in that. So that should help out the portfolio a little bit once that dividend gets paid out. But also trying to figure out, do we pull the plug on this cholera disaster that is now 57% in the red? I don't know. I'm kind of holding out a little bit of hope and figuring at this point, well, it's already down so much that, maybe at the end of the year take a tax loss if it hasn't moved towards the end of the year. But for now, probably foolishly hanging on. But we'll see. Like I said, pretty quiet peer-to-peer lending week. Just come back for the guests, because we're going to really, really have just such a good, bunch of information coming from these companies. Capital Stackers, Cufflink, Folk to Folk, Peer-to-Peer Finance News, Assets Exchange. Peter Reed had emailed me and said, hey, can I come back on the stream? I said, absolutely. You're a friend of the stream, so he's back on May 25th. I am trying to get also Stuart Law to come on from Assets Capital. Don't know if he's going to do it, because I think he's been feeling a little bit of heat from the retail investor side, but trying to see if he'll come back on and come tell us what's going on at Assets Capital, and see. Yeah, but what did you guys think of the emails from Tony and this car purchase, and also from Darren and his Tesla love that he has on his single stock purchase? Let's see if you have any interesting comments. Capital Stackers blog kicking AC is worth a read. I presume you mean Assets Capital and not air conditioning. Okay, Alan, duly noted the rate advertised as 8.73 as an AER of 8.25%. Dave Dawson, hi. Yes, Annabelle. Holly is she gets away with murder. I'm trying to train her right now not to jump on the sofa, but that has been a complete nightmare. Peer-to-peer finance news has forgotten thin cats, another 800,000 in administration fees. I don't want to depress too much by adding another one in there. I mean, if the list goes on, right, we got Wellesley. I don't even like to go through too many of them. I think sometimes those articles are important to pay attention to. Having a punt on Levi Strauss & Co. trading 2-on-2. They make decent jeans. I know they were down today, right? Dave Dawson, Tony should be paying his credit card off first. Yes. He also says nothing about a pension. As he is paying high rate tax, he should be using a pension. Okay, I like it. Annabelle, so Stuart needs to come face the music. We all backed him when he came on the good times. Has to face the camera and the audience through the bad times as well as the good. Yes, you would think so, but when the proverbial poo hits the fan, unfortunately, not everybody wants to come here and face the music. So I do try to let people like that know that I would be completely unbiased. I'm not there to attack them. I certainly, understand that there's a lot more things that go on in the background that we don't know about. And I do like to give everybody a fair chance to come on and plead their case. Another good example of that is Rebuilding Society. I've been trying to set up a time for them to come on the stream. I think Daniel is the guy's name. And not to blast him, because I had a bad experience with Rebuilding Society. At the beginning of my peer-to-peer lending investment journey, And I want to give him a chance to come on and tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I should be looking at rebuilding society as a place to invest money. But the offer is always open. I put the offer out there to David Bradley Ward from AbleRate, and also for the Funding Secure guys. But when the going gets tough, not everybody wants to be in front of the camera, and they don't want to read the comments, and they don't want to feel the negativity that is probably going to come their way. So it is what it is. But again, the offer is always open. Again, thank you to Cufflink for, again, sponsoring the stream. Really appreciate that. Go check out Cufflink if you want to sign up. I know most of you probably have accounts, but if you don't, go to join.cufflink.com/financial-thing. Go check out Cufflink and what they're doing. Friend of the stream, friend of Harley. So good stuff. They're going to be hopefully a long-time sponsor of the Financial Thing weekly stream. So yes, we'll be back next week for Capital Stackers, Thursday, 7:30 p.m. UK time. Be there or be square. Thanks again to everybody for joining. Please hit that thumbs up before you leave if you haven't already. And yeah, we kept it down to 40 minutes today. I think this is a good time frame not to, I don't want to waffle on too much. So, yeah. Anyway, have a great weekend, everybody. See you next Thursday. Take care. Bye.